You know what I'm tempted to do is not even show anyone this video, but what I think I need to do and what I should do is show a video through the entire process of this, because I think a lot of people are afraid of this scenario exactly. So right now we're heading out to a local spot that I found not too long ago. I've been out this road before, and you actually never saw the vlog of that because the night that I went out there when sunset was looking all right, it didn't happen. Like when you go out and photograph sunset, sometimes the clouds just burn off before the sun actually hits the horizon, and when that happens you're just left with a clear, boring sky. Now tonight what's happening is we're getting a low pressure front that's pushing through, and we have high pressure building back behind it. So we have that frontal boundary pushing through right now, and it's moving slow across where I live. So when that happens, you get some cloud buildup right along that frontal edge. The risk with that is that as it moves out, sometimes it moves out too fast and you get that clear, boring sky. The good news about that it's moving slow is we do still have a few high level clouds, and I've checked the app, my Clear Sky app, and it looks like we could have good cloud cover for sunset. The backup plan, and it's kind of hedging your bets sometimes when you find these locations, is that when you get into a big wide open space, no matter where the light hits, you can turn and photograph something that way. So I always try to position myself in a location like that, and we have good clouds out east. So as the sun gets lower on the horizon, but not all the way down like sunsets out west, you can start to see some of that color. And then out south, when you look that direction, you get nice side light and side color on those cloud formations. So even if it phases out west, we still have some options shooting east, south, possibly even north, depending on where that front line is starting to come in. But I've got my fingers crossed that this all works out and that somebody actually sees this video this time. So I'm not too happy of a camper right now because got out here, and just like every time I come out here, I never really know completely what to expect, because when I first came out here and scouted, what happened was when I got here, there were, wheat fields as far as the eye could see. I had tons of leading lines to use. Obviously not the case too much today. Wheat season is over, and it looks like soybeans have been planted here. So I'm trying to figure out what it is that I can actually shoot here real quick. Second problem is that sky's kind of cleared out, as you can probably see behind me, is that it's just completely blue right now. We have some clouds over that direction, which would be southeast, because I got the wind direction wrong. So as the wind pushes in from the northwest, it's pushing all of the clouds southeast, which is a problem for me because I didn't plan a location to come to that I could shoot southeast. I have compositions that I can shoot east, and I have compositions that I can shoot south, not southeast. So I'm a little confused by this. However, it does look like there are some hazy clouds up in the very tops of the sky, like up that way. So hoping for the best. I'm hoping that as the sun goes down, those textures and lines become a little bit more apparent. Hopefully that happens. I'm definitely holding out a lot of hope for that because it doesn't look like that could completely come to fruition, but I've seen crazier things. So this is not ideal. You know, the clouds have just dispersed. There's a little bit of haze on the horizon out here, but for the most part, it's completely skunked. You know what I'm tempted to do is not even show anyone this video, but what I think I need to do and what I should do is show a video through the entire process of this, because I think a lot of people are afraid of this scenario exactly, of getting out somewhere and doing all the work and scouting and putting in the work of getting somewhere, but then when you actually do find yourself in that spot, you struggle to get a composition, one, or the light doesn't work out, two. And that hinders a lot of people from even going out and trying. And you know, that happens with me even too often than not, of going out somewhere and not getting something and then staying on the couch the next time and the sky just blows up in magical colors. I think, though, that there is possibility in every situation to make the best out of it. That's what I'm going to try to do. Simplistic shot here. The light's getting really good out in front of me, and that's why I have the 70-200 on, because these waves of soybeans going down, we have dysfunction and contrast in the lines that are going on in front of you. So let me put you behind the camera so that you can see everything that I see, and I can kind of walk you through what I'm trying to frame up here. Okay, so here's what you can see on my camera moving forward throughout this frame. Since I have the 70-200 on, I can really zoom in and focus on what I want to here. And that's having just a little bit of peak in the foreground on the bottom of the frame, but then also as you move through going back into the frame, what you get is you get to explore more, and those scattered soybeans in the foreground quickly turn into what are linear paths of soybeans in the background, and the light is being cast from the side and the kind of like backside lighting almost on these soybeans and these hills. So what happens here is you get linear shadows going this way with soybeans going straight out, and that causes contrast in lines. And that's what I find kind of interesting right now. You know, you never want to force yourself into an image, which I would be doing here for sunset. But what I'm doing instead is following the light, seeing what it's giving me, and just trying to make the best out of that situation. You know, sometimes when you get to a place looking for that big, wide landscape shot, it just doesn't work out. And you have to focus on those small, minute details that make up the big landscape. You know, as I sit here and just watch this light fade, knowing that sunset color is not going to happen today, I almost like this. Like, I almost like losing. I almost like failing or conditions not coming together, because I don't necessarily think I failed, because you can always learn something from every shoot. Instead, what I really think is what you learn where the light's happening. So if I come back here next year, maybe even later in the week, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. I know exactly where the light's going to be. Now I know where the shadows occur. I know predominantly where the sun's going to set at a given time of year. So the whole thing is a learning experience. It's not this, guarantee that you're going to get a shot. And I think that is the struggle, especially on workshops. Like when you come out and come on a workshop, it's almost disappointing to everybody if conditions don't come together. But in essence, you're learning while you're out. You're getting tips from other people. And in situations like this, when you come to local spots, you always know that you can come back. And that's the beauty of this, is that tomorrow, the sunset might be great again. Do I want to drive 30 minutes and come out here and have a 50-50 shot of getting great light? Possibly. But when you do get that, when you go through moments like this, what happens is those moments when everything comes together, it's that much sweeter and it's that much more enjoyable. And those are the photographs that you really remember. These photos that I'm getting here, they're cool and all, but honestly, they're filler. They're fun, they're learning experiences, but they're filler. Those shots, when everything comes together, is when all of this goes into it, and that's when that juice is really worth the squeeze. And you know that work that you put in on the forefront really came together, and you got something out of all your failures, out of all the trials that you went through trying to get the shot. That's when it's that sweet. I'm going to kind of stay here, and I don't know, we have some more textures going on as the sun keeps dipping down and we get more shadows here. I'm going to keep shooting. This isn't like Palouse in Washington or anything like that, but we do have some good shadows starting to occur. Who knows? Maybe we get color. I don't know. All right, so the last shot I'm going to do here is a little creative shot that I like to do sometimes. I did this in the sand dunes in Death Valley a while back, and what I like to do is shoot just directly into the sun and have some shapes there, but what I do is just shield barely the very end of my lens, but I do so in a way that lets in just a tiny bit of light. So as I shield this, I'm going to set a 2-second timer and just try to get my hand where it's still letting in just a tiny bit of light. And I have this golden cast of light coming in from the top corner. And it's really fun to play around and edit with that. That looks pretty cool because you have some sun rays coming in off that. You just don't want to point your lens directly into the sun for too long. And that looks pretty cool. So always play around too, because you can still get some pretty cool shots here when there aren't great conditions. You just have to look for what's making up the landscape instead of just hoping and wishing for something that's not going to happen. Roll with the punches, roll with the light, and find what's going to work best here, because textures, lines, light, that's what makes a great photo, not wishing for a sunset that's not going to happen.